Hey guys, welcome to this week's video. I'm really excited for what we're doing today. I'm going to be going to Barnes & Noble with some of my friends and we're going to be choosing books for each other to read. So I'm really excited. So let's go shopping. Hey guys, so I'm back home now. It's been like a week since you saw the clips in Barnes & Noble with my friends, but I figured I'd just explain a little bit about what we did and what books we picked for each other. So all three of us picked a book for the other two. So I picked for Micah, the dark-haired girl, I picked Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo because she's read the Shadow and Bone trilogy and she also really liked the show, but she hasn't read Six of Crows yet, and I just want her to read it so that we can talk about the books together, and I think she'll really like it. And then for my redheaded friend Erin, I picked When in Rome by Sarah Adams because she likes country things, country boys I guess. The When in Rome is a little bit country, and I just read it and I gave it 5 stars, so I wanted her to read it too and see what she thinks of it. Micah, for me, picked The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. She chose it because it's been popular on TikTok for like years now, and she just wanted to, she hasn't read it yet, but she just wanted to see what I thought of it. And I got this really cool edition that has deckled edges, which I love, and then it has these French flaps with like quotes on the side. And I don't know, I just think it's beautiful, and I think this is the one I'm gonna read first. And then Erin, for me, chose A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos, and this one is a YA fantasy. She chose it because she liked the cover and she read the back of it and she thought that I might enjoy it too. So I'm excited to read this one. I've seen it a few places but not a ton, so I think it will be pretty interesting. I also bought Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren because for our book club with me and my roommates from college, so those 2 girls and a few other girls, we each choose a book. This is the one I chose for book club that we're reading next month, so I had to buy it so that I could read it next month, or this month, and talk about it next month. I'm excited for that one as well. So that's my little haul. Today, yeah, I'm gonna start this one. I haven't read the back or anything because I want to go as blind as possible, but this one, since it's so popular, I've like heard a lot about it. Addie LaRue, the main character, made a deal with the devil or some being of that nature so that she could live forever, but all the people that she interacts with end up forgetting her. So she has this really long life, but she doesn't really get to have connections with anyone because they just forget her. So I think that's a pretty interesting premise. I have heard mixed reviews about this book because some people think it's like really slow and just drags on, and some people like, I think Rachel Catherine read this recently and she like gave it a 4.5 and really loved it. So I'm hoping I'll really love it. And yeah, I'm excited to read this author's works in general. I haven't read anything by her, but I know that she has a lot of books and they're all pretty popular, so I'm excited to start that. So yeah. And then I actually don't know anything about Winter's Promise, so when I start reading that one and like get into the story, I'll give you guys a synopsis, but like I said, I want to go in as blind as possible to this one. Let's start reading. Good morning, guys. It's the next day. I figured I'd give you a little update. So I am 78 pages in so far, and I'm really enjoying it. I feel like this book, just from what I've read so far, is going to be very like character driven, like not necessarily super plot heavy, but I really like the characters so far. So I'm not too worried about like not liking it or not being interested. I've been very invested, reading pretty quickly for like how big these pages are and like not wanting to put it down too. It's just the best feeling when you're like so excited to keep reading, and that's how I feel about this book. So yeah, I really like the writing style too. The settings are just super fun. I feel like there's potential to be a lot of different settings in this book since she has such a long life and travels a lot. It's very interesting because you get to have like the timeline from when the curse happened and then like what's going on like in the kind of now timeline. It's set in 2014. So it's really cool that you jump back and forth, and the chapters are really short. So that's been helpful for like moving the story along, even if there's not a ton actually like happening. So yeah, I'm excited. Let's keep reading. Days since I've updated y'all, but I only have 130 pages, 30-ish pages left in Addie, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I feel like I haven't really like explained to you guys how much I actually am enjoying this book. I feel like it's the perfect timing for me to read this book because recently I've watched a few movies that were set in New York City, and I love things that are set in New York City. Like, they just give you such a cool feeling of adventure and possibility, and I just love that. And I did not know that this one was partially set in New York City, but like I was thinking a few days before I started this, like, man, I really want to read a book that's set in New York City. So really having a good time with that. And then also I was thinking that I wanted a fantasy, because I've been reading a lot of romance, but a fantasy that's not a sequel, because a lot of the ones I've been reading since I've been trying to get through series have been sequels, and I just wanted a new story and a new premise that was just intriguing and interesting to read, that was not something I already had seen before. So this is perfect for me right now. So I'm really excited. I really am hoping I can finish it today. I'm going to try my hardest to finish it today because I need to start the other book so I can finish this video and be able to upload it in time. I only have like 130-ish left, so I think I can do it if I commit myself. Finished The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue last night, and I decided I was gonna give it 5 stars. I have nothing bad to say about this book. I just enjoyed it the whole time and had such a good time, and it just gave me so many like bookish feelings that I haven't felt in a while, like not being able to put it down and like thinking about it when I'm not reading it and stuff. So I'm super glad I read this, because I think I was thrown off by the reviews, how slow it is and stuff like that, and I probably wouldn't have read it maybe at all, or at least not for a long time, if Micah hadn't picked it for me. So thank you, Micah. I love this book. I had a great time. So now it's time to start the other book, the one that Aaron chose for me. Like I said, I don't know anything about this book except for that it is YA fantasy. It's part of a series. The series is called The Mirror Visitor. So yeah, I'm gonna start this one, and I'm really hoping that I'll enjoy it, and I'll give you guys an update on the synopsis and what it's about like after I start it. But okay, let's start it. Thought I'd give you a little update. It's a few days later and I'm almost halfway through. This book is interesting. So Ophelia, the main character, lives on a world where the world has been broken into a bunch of different pieces, and all the pieces are called arcs, and she is arranged to marry a guy from a different arc. So the whole story kind of goes through her like traveling there, and it's a very like political type of story where it talks a lot about why they're getting married, because it's kind of a strategic marriage, and like her learning about the culture and the politics there. So that's pretty interesting, but it's also like a fantasy, so it's like dystopian a little bit because it's set in the future after the world has been ruptured, I think they call it. But it's also, they all have these powers because they're descendants of the gods that tried to help them after the world was broken. So she has the power to touch objects and like read into their history and like their emotional history of the owner and stuff like that. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm like not loving it a lot, but it is interesting and keeping my attention enough that I've read a bit in a couple of days. So yeah, it's also interesting because I found out that this book was translated from French into English, and also the main character has an arranged marriage, and in Addie larue, she was from France and she had an arranged marriage in the beginning of the book. So that was really interesting, but there's some comparisons between these two. But yeah, I'm gonna keep reading and see how it goes. So I finished A Winter's Promise yesterday. I'm going to give this book, I think, 3.5 stars. I definitely enjoyed it. Like, I thought that it was really interesting. I've never really read a book like this before. It's a fantasy, but it's very like political. Like, it has all the politics of this like court that she is becoming a part of, and a lot of different interesting characters. The reason that I gave it like 3.5 instead of 4 or anything above that is because I didn't feel very connected to the characters. For some reason I just felt a bit removed from like their emotions. The plot is interesting because it's very much like everyone's against everyone, so there's not like one true antagonist. There's a bunch of different ones, And I felt like because of that, a lot of things happened kind of separately from each other. Like all the events didn't really feel like they were all connected. It was just kind of like this happened and that gets resolved, and then this happens and then that gets resolved. Like it didn't feel like a long plot. I also felt like it didn't wrap up very well because it is a series, like they want you to read the next book. So that's kind of what the ending was about, just like, hey, read the next book and see what happens. But yeah, because of the like disjointed plot, it didn't feel like there was like a nice conclusion to this first book. But I'm glad that I read it. I was interested to see like what this was about, since every time I saw the cover I was like intrigued by it. I thought it was interesting and definitely held my attention while I was reading it. I had a really fun time doing this video. I think it was a really fun idea to have somebody else choose books for me to read. We had good variety, I would say. Like I got a 5-star and like 3.5 stars, one that I haven't really heard of and one that's like super popular. I had a really fun time. I'm glad that I did it. And I liked doing the reading vlog style video as well. So if you guys liked it, please let me know. Yeah, let me know if you've read either of these books. I hope to see you guys next week for next week's video. And I hope you have a really good day. Bye.